Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is John with Addicted to Fishing. Sorry about the low lighting on this video, but it was requested to see a tutorial on how to pour your own jigs. So I'm going to try try to do that one right now. And I'm going to have to kind of pick up the phone and turn things around a little bit, try to show you what I've got going on here. But the reason why it's low lighting is I have to turn my fan off. I have to turn that overhead light off just to run this lead pot. Then once I pour the jigs, I have to let them cool, unplug the pot to be able to use the heat gun, so forth and so on. A lot of times the heat gun will trip everything off. So it's quite a process out here in this little garage. Hopefully sometime here in the near future I won't have to deal with this. But until then, we make do with what we have. I've still never figured out how to turn my camera around on my phone. But anyway, kind of give you a little turnaround with my phone myself. Got my lead production pot. That's a Lee's pot. I work at Chick-fil-A, and they were throwing away a metal tray that we bake biscuits on. Do a variety of different things on because it was actually warped. I asked at the time, since it was going in the trash, if I could just take it. And they said yes, so it's a great spot for me to put my pot. Of course, I got a spoon to stir my lead up. I use this guy sometimes to poke out that nozzle. And then you can see my heat gun. Got a couple of these metal magnetic strips that hold anything metal on them. Some of the finished baits I hold here. Most of my tools inside this one. It's kind of hard to see. This is my powder paints. Some extra cups, some glitters up above. There's the different molds, the tools. Over here, got different trays for different things. Yeah, it's kind of the spot. I do apologize for this light. It's a LED strip light. I'm trying to illuminate what I can. And this is generally how I have to pour jigs while I'm out here, or pour the material, whatever I'm pouring. Let's see, not that mold. All right, gonna go with the, since it was requested for a jig, I'm gonna pull out the Poison Tail jig. This is actually a swim jig mold that I have modified to make chatters out of. I think I'm going to go one step further and modify it to make spinnerbaits out of it. But you can definitely, I don't have weed guards. You can definitely make swim jigs out of it. Today we're going to, it's the same thing for the people that were asking how to make a jig. It's going to be the same process I'm using. I'll show you the hook and how to set that up for a jig. And then I'm going to set it up to actually make a bladed jig. All the information that you need is right here on the mold. It tells you what size cavity. Like this one, you got a 1/8 size out here. And it recommends a 1/0 hook, a 1/4 ounce with a 2/0 hook, and a 3/8 with a 3/0 hook. Let's see. Recommend use Mustad style 91768 BLN wide gap hooks. It'll tell you exactly what size fiber guard to use, which is your weed guard. It tells you use 2D or 3D stick on lure eyes, depending on what size it is. It goes on, and it gives you all that handy information right there. It is a do-it mold, and I'm sure it's going to be really hard to the focus anything you can see is the poison tail, the model number of the mold, so on and so forth. So anyway, I got the pot on, and then what I like to do is take my mold, set it right on top of the pot. We're not going to do that right now, but if you're going to pour swim jig, get your hook. And then you take that hook, lay it on. Then you need either a Teflon or they supply you with a metal pen. Let me get one of these metal pens. And I'm actually going to grab the one that I've cut down for the chatter, and then you just close that up, boom, you're done. I can make some chatters with this blade, with this hook as well, but I generally don't. I come in with a spinnerbait hook. And then the underspin. And I'll give you these exact parts here in just a second. This takes a second to get this lined up exactly right. And if you want to modify the underspin piece to have a shorter shaft on it, you could be my guest. I don't do that. Sometimes I will take that underspin keeper for the blade and I give it a little more of a bend. Because it's doing totally something different than what it's made for. I apologize, guys, for this kind of being a little awkward, but I'm trying to walk you through this whole process. Anyway, you just bend that a little bit. Doesn't take much. Sometimes you gotta tinker around with it a couple times on each one of those little wire mold or the little underspin pieces, because what you want to do is you want to get it inside that hook eye, sorry. And again, this mold is not meant to do this. So anyway, once I get it all in there, get it closed up, then what I do, once I get hot lead, and it seems to help me pour a little bit better, is I take the old torch and I heat directly inside the hole. Get that underspin mold hot, or get that underspin piece hot, and get that hook hot. We're still waiting on the pot to get hot. Let me move some stuff out of my way here. So anyway, what I've used on that is a Mustad 32606N 4/0 spinnerbait hook, and then the Do It Mold WEY 525 underspin. And where's that big underspin? Here's the big underspin that I poured, but you're using this insert right here to put that bladed jig on. I do not recommend or give advice for anybody to pour these direct blade to the, the direct blade to the head underspins, chatterbaits, as it is a violation of Z-Man's patent. So we definitely don't want to do that. Some of the things that you need, I have found that if I use a little piece of shrink tube, I can come back after that's done and add in my keeper. That's for your trailer. That one is the, I believe, WB800. Yeah, the WB800, or you can use the WBD1000. These are from Do It Molds. You can go right over on Do It Molds website, get that. If you go with the other one, you get a twin keeper. I think I'm gonna pour this one and use that twin keeper. Some other things that you'll need is some sort of eye. I use Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails to cure the head. You need yourself a little super glue to glue the eye on. Most importantly, what you're going to need, and I've got a wide range of different colors for the eyes, that you need a duo snap. Found myself some more shrink tube. And I keep everything, labeled up. This is labeled blades, snaps, eyes, cups. There's not really any blades in here anymore. You'll need a skirt of choice. And this one's labeled spinnerbait parts. And what's important in this box is just one thing only for that, is the blade. Don't need any of these other parts, so we'll put that away. And we're pretty much prepared and ready to go to make this chatterbait. The one that I've been throwing and that I had the best success on today, got a lot of nice fish. This one's kind of beat up. This is one of my homemade ones. I made the bluegill pattern. I'm actually thinking about retiring it. You can see it don't have its eyes anymore. The head's beat up, but it's got a real good action to it. I love the way these poison tail swim through the water. This morning I went out right before the rain hit. Caught about the third, fourth cast, caught about a 5-6 pound walleye on that chatterbait. Caught 3 or 4, around 3 pound class smallmouth, and I caught a few largemouth, one of them being probably close to 3 pounds. Caught like 6 or 7 fish. I was up fishing the spillway at East Fork Lake. I go up and fish that spillway a lot. There's a lot of nice smallmouth up there. But everything I was throwing, they didn't want nothing to do with anything except for that particular bladed jig. Here's another bladed jig, guys, that I painted up in shad pattern. That's with that extra wide gap hook. And then you can see on the bottom, I put that keeper on and used that heat shrink tube. You think this would have been a color that they wanted this morning? I was throwing a white, silver, because they were up chasing shad. Anytime I get up to the spillway and they're chasing shad, or I see shad splashing, I know it's going to be a good day. Anyway, we're just waiting on this pot to heat up. One of the things I can tell you real quick too, and I'm going to start trying to post some links to some of the things that I use on this channel. We're going to go ahead and get another cup out. I just bought these cups, put some of this heat shrink tubing in it, and I'll explain to you what another benefit of the heat shrink tube. But I like to keep all this stuff as loose as possible, as easy as possible to get to. Anyway, I bought these little cups at Walmart, a couple bucks. I can keep all that heat shrink tube in, and I can cut it as needed. They do stack. I've got 3. These are going to be strictly for heat shrink tube and the little pieces, and I'll explain to you what I'm doing with that. Depending on your hook, I'm going to pin upon a piece of heat shrink. So what you're going to do, one of the things that you do, excuse me, besides that heating that keeper on, let's find a hook. This is the VMC 5/0 7150BN. It is that Barbarian hook. So what you need to do prior to powder coating your jigs, it doesn't work on that one. That one's for the small sizes. This is for a little bit bigger eye of the hook. Let's get you a piece of this heat shrink tubing, cut it down, and then slide it over the eye. And this is going to be way back, but you just want it right here. That's all you're going to get. Of course, it's not at this point that you use that. Here's that same hook on a bait. So say we've already got this one poured. Before we put the eyes on it, before we powder paint it, you want to take this piece of heat shrink tube. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. I can show you a whole lot better. Oh, I'm probably got a piece already in here cut. I haven't cut a bunch of them yet. But anyway, you take that piece, put it on there like that, put the heat to it, shrink that down on there. That way you can keep that powder paint out of that eye. And then you don't have to clear out that eye. And then too, like I said, for the keeper, it's been a challenge for me to pour with the lead and get that keeper to exactly where I want it. But you can use a little piece of heat shrink tube and heat shrink that keeper on there. It's not a critical point that you have to have. You know, it'll hold perfectly fine with that. I put a little piece of super glue on that. But say you were pouring the smaller ones, smaller jigs, like this one. Again, you want to put that piece of heat shrink tube over the end to keep that eye clean. We're going to see if we can go from hot lead to finished product here. My lead's finally hot. I'll give it a quick little stir in there, make sure it's ready to roll. I'm getting some drippage out of it. Let me turn this camera. This is going to be kind of a lengthy video, guys, so stay tuned. We're covering this thing from start to finish. Okay, you can see the production pot here. So I go right. Let's not forget to heat that hook up. I almost forgot. Take that torch to it for about 30 seconds. Go right up onto your spout. This is a replacement spout, so it's a little hard for me to hit it. Zap that. And my pot leaks like a sieve. I have not seen or heard or talked to anybody that's pot does not leak. If you've got a non-leaky pot, congratulations. This one only poured the sprue. That means the cavity wasn't hot enough. Sometimes I gotta come through and clean out my cavity. Anyway, you seen how I pour it Let me go back, pour another one. Trying to get that thing not to splash. This one didn't pour very good. If it doesn't pour very good, I'll just do it again. Man, she's dripping everywhere today. The lid is dripping everywhere. And it's splashing everywhere. I need a little metal bowl to put underneath of there to catch this lead as it comes out. Let's get another hook, because you can't reuse that one right away when you go to pull all that back off, as it will be way too hot to handle. It's another wire form. And simply what happened here was the mold wasn't hot enough. You think your mold's hot enough, it's probably not. Well, let's heat that hook up again. Get all this hot as we can get it here. Let's try to get a good pour through this time. I'm going to heat it a little bit longer since it's only the first or second one. Come back. Pour. Hopefully this time we got a good pour. The top side looks good. A little bit of flashing. I gotta get a cup. Oh, sorry guys. I'm getting splashed with hot lead. Let me get a bowl here. Put a bowl in there to catch that hot lead as it's dripping. Let's pour this one out. Yep, this was a good one. All right, so I'm not gonna pour anymore. On our pot, unplug the pot. Probably just seen the light flicker. I'm telling you guys, it's hard. So anyway, what you're left with is ta-da. Now, all of this stuff can be cleaned up. If you get a little bit of flashing, it's okay. Grab that sprue and 9 times out of 10, you can simply just kind of rock it back and forth and get it out. It goes right back in the pot. Same way with all the lead that leaked out of my pot. Got a little bit of flashing down here, a little bit of drippage. I'll come in, I'll cut that off, back in the pot. So then you're left with that. I come in, and the only thing I'm not going to be able to do today, guys, is on this one is put the skirt on and do the finalized details. Because if you're going to do this correctly, you got to bake the jig. But you got to clean all this up. You know, sometimes you got to bend that back up so you get that connect. Any of the imperfections that you have on the head, just take your little metal file them down. But there you go. The hardest part's getting that lead hot enough and getting it right in getting that mold hot enough. So anyway, let's go back to this guy where it didn't pour correctly. I ought to simply work that hook out if it's loose enough. And it's not quite loose enough. So what I like to do is take and grab that, and maybe it will come out. And it did come out, and there's the hook. But I got to get that little WEY. All I do is hold it above the pot or a bowl, heat that lead back up with my torch, get my part. Set that on the metal tray. Let that sucker cool down. So anyway, here we go. We're at this part in the game. Got a nice swim jig head. That pot really drips. I had to replace my nozzle, or replace the inside piece. And you can't actually get that directly from Lee's for whatever reason. You got to get a authorized dealer to be able to send you out a replacement pot. Let me just clean up a little bit here, guys, as we're going. I just need this pot, this bowl, to keep myself from getting splashed and to collect that lead. Some of you guys might be able to have access to some good tungsten. That's perfectly fine. You can pour tungsten, you can pour lead. Same process. All right, guys, so at this point, the next thing we need to do, boy, is it hot in here, is get this head ready to paint. And let's see what we got here. Let's go with Junebug. Again, guys, I'm going to be building some in the future once I get a little bit better space, but I don't have access to enough electric to run everything at once, and it gets hot out here quick. Anyway, I take my powder coat paint. You can see it's the Lurecraft, Netcraft, Junebug. Hopefully that shows up. Get that loosened back up. I've got some new forceps coming that are going to be a little longer. Got to move out of the way a little bit. Of the heat gun. I need my piece of heat shrink. Hit that with a torch. Get that on there. Gotta put the heat gun on low. Heat that head up. It just takes a couple of seconds. But you want to keep it moving. Get everything that you need to heat up hot enough. Take it, dip it. Shake it all off, as much excess as you can, and heat that puppy back up, right on the heat. And it takes a little while with a heat gun on low. And if you don't have enough coverage on it, like this one didn't have enough coverage, you can go back in, hit it a second time. Yep, that's why I know the fluidized or the fluid bed is a lot better. You get a better coverage on it. Anyway, there's the June bug. We gotta let that cool. Turn the heat gun off. Let me turn my fan on. It is still August here and it's hot, but we're all the way to that stage. You just grab yourself. Let me grab it while I can. More of the drippage from the pot. Grab that. There's your clean hook eye. Simply throw that, discard that piece. Now, one of the cool things that you can do at this point, let me seal up my stuff here, kind of clean up the mess as we go. And I appreciate anybody that's still watching this video. I know it's kind of lengthy, but we are going almost start to finish on a chatter. Then one of the things that I like to do sometimes with these guys is put a little glitter in it. So what I'll do is I have some small cups. I should have been a little bit better prepared than I am. And as you guys watch the channel, you see a lot of times I'm not super prepared for this. But anyway, I'll take a little 2-part epoxy. Put some of that in that cup. Oh, my lure eyes went flying. And my cup's flying. And my 2-part epoxy is not wanting to come out. Let me adjust that fan a little bit. Clean that out. This is probably way more epoxy than I need, but that's okay. Pull that plunger back. Cap it. Get a stick. You only got 5 minutes with this stuff. Get that epoxy working. And remember the glitter. Take some of that glitter. This is a red glitter. Put just a smidge of glitter in. And of course, nothing seems to be working. Making this video all the more longer because we're waiting on stuff. A little piece of glitter in there. I've got a bunch more glitter coming. But you gotta kind of play with it a little bit to see how much glitter you need. This is a wet glitter. I got some dry glitters coming. Put a little bit of red in there. And you take some of that epoxy. With the glitter. Put some epoxy on that head. Preferably I like to do that after the fact. Get it baked while that epoxy's wet. If you got some extra, just kind of wipe it clean. But you can add a glitter effect. You can see some of that glitter. It's kind of hard to see with that light. That glitter down in there. It's gonna be a lot better once I get the dry glitter. That's a glitter glue. I don't know why I grabbed the glitter glue. Here's some holographic dry glitter. Oh, excuse me. I do apologize, guys. Oh my goodness. Got really bad seasonal allergies. But anyway, you get the point of that. So you can get that together. Then what you would do, after you bake this cowboy, put the eyes on it, slide the blade in, put the blade in place. This one is actually going to need me to clean that out. I could put this blade on now and bake it with the blade. Close that eye. Put your snap on if you want. Bake it. Get that snap. Whatever keeper you want to put on it. And then you're ready to roll, guys. Put some eyes on. Seal it up with the Sally Hansen's. And we'll just go ahead and do it without baking this one. Yeah, maybe we'll bake it. We're already 38 minutes into a video. It's a lengthy video. So anyway, guys, if you stuck around to this point, I hope that helped. I hope that helps you figure out what you may or may not be doing right or wrong with pouring some jigs. Again, I apologize that it was a little lengthy. Maybe I'll do another video once I pour up a handful more and show you the backside of it all. I'll pour them up, get them all painted since how we did that. Get them baked, and then I can show you the end where we're putting the Sally Hansen's on, super gluing the eyes on, epoxying it, doing whatever else we need to do to it. But anyway, guys, I hope you liked this video. We'll see you in the next one.